Hello, this is Ariella Carmel, and I'm at Calcalist's Tech on the Beach event in Tel Aviv. I'm joined by co-founder and CEO of FundGuard, Lior Yogev. Thank you for joining me, Lior. How are you?
Great to meet you. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So can we start off by having you just tell us a bit about FundGuard and what you do?
Yeah, so FundGuard is essentially a next generation platform for servicing investment funds. So think mutual funds, hedge funds, insurance company, anything that has essentially an investment portfolio, we provide the platform to service it.
Amazing. And when were you founded exactly?
So we started in 2018. We started just three founders, myself, Uri and Yaniv, and our seed investors were Blumberg Capital and Lionbird Ventures.
Okay, excellent. And can you speak a bit to what your trajectory has been, what the process has been like in the years since you were founded? You've gone through a lot since COVID, the economic downturn. Can you speak to what that process has been like?
It has been a whirlwind, and luckily it's not a first one for me. I started in the high-tech industry in 2001 when it was pretty interesting period. Then I was on Wall Street in 2008, so have gotten used to those cycles. You just have to make sure that you can live through them. But as it relates to FundGuard, I come from this industry. We're in the asset management space, where most of the systems have been built in the 1970s and 80s and are really archaic. Mm-hmm. And we're really bringing them into the 2020s and beyond. So when we started out, we knew that we were targeting large financial institutions. Think about the largest asset management firms, the largest banks in the world. And those are not the fastest movers because they're highly regulated. So we actually started out with a backup solution that we provided to them. That was our entry point into the market. But our bet was that over time, people were going to recognize the value of FundGuard, how we can actually replace their legacy platforms that are at the core of these financial institutions and really modernize how they work, really improve their operating efficiencies, drive their digital transformation, ultimately driving better transparency to investors, better and cheaper investment products, and just much more digital access into those investment products. So we started out for a couple of years really focused on a backup solution, and the last 2 years we've managed to make that transition into being a core platform when some of these large financial institutions who invested in our B round started to recognize the value that we can bring them by replacing their legacy platforms.
Well, on that point, there are many Israeli startups operating in the Fintech ecosystem, but you're one of the few that really targets the payment infrastructure for many Fintech companies. How was that something that was of interest to you? Why did you see that when others didn't?
Yes, so I would say we're probably quite unique in this space where most fintech companies are trying to create an end-to-end business where they own the customer. We're actually helping the incumbents, the banks and asset management firms, transform how they do their business. We're focusing in the asset management space, and the reason why we're there is, in my previous company, Multifonds, I led the business in North America and worked with the largest banks and asset management firms, and was just shocked to see the type of archaic solutions that they were using that ultimately drove inefficiencies and higher costs to investors and led to a lot of mistakes that you were just scratching your head. How can that be that so many trillions of dollars are being managed on these systems, and that's how the world operates. So the idea for FundGuard came about from just personal experience in an industry and looking at newer technology and how that can help reshape how the industry operates.
Excellent. So I just want to ask you as a final question. First of all, congratulations. You made the list of the top promising startups in Israel.
Thank you very much.
It's amazing. And you're one of the few companies that has actually been hiring as opposed to seeing massive layoffs. Can you tell us a bit about what your goals are for the coming year, and also what advice you can give to startups that are starting anew?
Maybe I'll start with the advice. I will just say, to those starting anew, you have such a long horizon that you have to operate in. I wouldn't be worried about the current kind of economic environment. And kind of the next thing just goes to all kind of startups, even the ones that are kind of probably kind of struggling right now. I've seen it kind of in 2008 look like just kind of, the earth kind of underneath me just dropped, right? And kind of people who lost their jobs would never find new jobs. But the reality is that kind of, there are cycles, for many reasons, and kind of over time the entrepreneurship spirit and just kind of the ingenuity of people kind of, prevails, and businesses come and kind of and prosper. So kind of, you got to kind of take a sigh of breath, kind of things are going to kind of improve, and focus on the fundamentals of the value that you're providing to your customer. As it relates to us, kind of correctly, right, we are kind of continuing to hire massively because we have very large financial institutions who've contracted with us to transform their business, and we have a lot kind of to work on in the coming years. And for us, we're kind of maintaining kind of great focus. There are always people who are saying, "Oh, can you also build this? Can you also build that?" But it's about kind of maintaining focus and landing kind of key pillars before you start the next journey.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much to everyone else.
Thank you very much.